coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor. This is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Hello, I'm Sean Preble, and this is MediaPlex News Now. The students at the University of Windsor have voted no on a referendum to help pay to renovate its athletic facilities. Justin Prince has the full story.
After weeks of campaigning, students at the University of Windsor have voted against helping pay for renovations to its athletic facilities. More than 4,500 students cast their ballots online.
This election brought out more voters in all of the elections that I've done combined.
Although 52% of the full-time students and 51% of the part-time students supported the proposal, the Graduate Student Society voted against it. All three groups had to vote in favor for it to pass. The proposed fee would have helped pay for about $55 million in the facility's construction costs.
There's a lot of time and effort and emotional capital tied up in trying to bring this thing to life, and so yeah, it's disappointing.
Windsor Lancers Athletic Director Mike Havey told the MediaPlex over the phone his department accepts the results. The project currently includes a new 124,000 square foot recreation center, an 8-lane swimming pool, and a triple gymnasium for intramural sports. But Havey says it would be for everyone.
The kids who play intramurals who can't get a team in the in the soccer league because there isn't enough capacity, we don't have enough space, or who are tired of finishing intramural volleyball at 1 o'clock in the morning because that's what it takes because of the limitations in court time. They're disappointed too.
Some groups such as Drop Fees Now Windsor argued the school could have paid for the facility without raising student fees.
The university was able to fund multi-million-dollar projects like the Welcome Center, the parking deck, other similar things without student fees. They could have done the same for the LSRC.
Havey says he is still positive the project has a future.
We had the attention of 1/3 of the campus on this question. Even though it's not going to be able to go forward because of the way that it is constructed, we had 52% of the popular vote. So it makes me believe that there's pretty significant student interest and support.
Havey says it's too early to figure out what the next steps will be. For MediaPlex News, I'm Justin Prince.
St. Clair College and CBC are teaming up for a very exciting event on Friday. Let's go down to the corner of University and Victoria, where Alyssa Horobin has a special guest to tell us all about it. Alyssa?
Tony Doucette is no stranger to radio and TV audiences in Windsor. He was CBC's sports reporter for many years and currently hosts Windsor Morning on CBC Radio. Thank you for joining us this evening. Isn't it getting a little past your bedtime?
About another hour and a half. It'll be about time to tuck it in for the day. But yeah, it's coming up quickly. Pleasure to be here.
I understand you are hosting CBC's Sounds of the Season this Friday at St. Clair College. Could you tell us what that's all about?
Well, it's actually two things. The live broadcast, which is coming up on Friday during our regular show hours from 6 to 8:30, is just the highlight to what is a 6 or 7 week campaign. We generally kick it off in mid to late November and run it through the end of December. And it's designed to raise food and money for the Unemployed Help Center and the 15 food banks that they support around Windsor, Essex. It's a very worthwhile cause, and we're just really happy to be able to do it.
Is there a certain amount you'd like to see donated?
You know, we don't fool ourselves. We don't kid ourselves. We know that no single effort is going to solve the problem of hunger in Windsor, Essex. I prefer to look at it this way. Every dollar that we raise, every bag of food that we collect, every can that we collect is something that we didn't have before we started. This, I know, the community has been really generous every year that we've done this, and I fully expect that they will be again. So no specific goal, just to kind of tap into that community spirit that this city is so well known for.
Why is it at St. Clair College this year?
Well, that's an interesting question. We're in the middle of a big renovation at our CBC studios at Riverside and Crawford. We normally host it there and have people come into the studio, sort of an open house. And we even considered canceling our live broadcast this year because of the construction. And St. Clair College, which has partnered with us in the past, sort of jumped in and said, hey, why don't you have it at our place? And we thought, well, that's just the ticket. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do it in the lobby, the main lobby of the South Windsor campus of the college on Friday morning.
What message would you have for people who would like to help with the cause?
I think in order to really understand why we do this, all you really need to do is think. Think about people in the city who, for whatever reason might be having difficulty scraping together something so basic as a meal. It could be an individual, it could be a family, it could be someone who's unemployed, it could be someone that's just down on their luck. It could be someone who has a full-time job, and there are many of those in the city, maybe a single wage earner who's just not making enough money to feed the family on a regular basis. There are hundreds, literally hundreds of those people in Windsor, Essex. So all we ask is that people think about them and do what you can to help us help them over the next several weeks.
Well, thank you for joining us and telling us about Sounds of the Season. It'll be at St. Clair College on Friday from 6 to 8 a.m., and we'll see you there. Back to you, Sean.
Sounds like a great event, Alyssa. Young business people from across Windsor and Essex County got together to compete in this year's Youth X competition. Kenneth Bullock was there to bring you the details.
Starting businesses clash at the University of Windsor. Students from high schools all across town brought their business ideas to compete with others at the Odette building. Winning could mean starting a partnership with one of the established entrepreneur judges or to gain more publicity. Over the last few months, young entrepreneurs have been devising marketing plans and thinking of how to sell their ideas.
We pick about 1 or 2 teams from each school that has had the best business so far in the program, and we give them the initiative to come to the university and compete for investment for top 3 students.
Even if a student's micro business doesn't take off, they still have the opportunity to partner up with entrepreneurs in Windsor.
The biggest benefit for them is networking. So it gives them the chance to network to local business owners, anyone that can have the potential of investing in them. So even if they don't get the initial investment from getting first place, they still have a chance to get investments from other business owners that might see potential in their program.
A $3,000 investment will be given to the winner of Youth X, which they can use to market their business during the summer and make more connections throughout Windsor and outside. For MediaPlex News, I'm Kenneth Bullock.
And now we'll go back outside to Alyssa for an early look at the weather. Alyssa?
Thanks, Sean. Well, it continues to be warm out here. It is about a pleasant 4 degrees Celsius, and it will remain that way overnight. I'll be back later on in the show with your 3-day forecast. Sean?
Keep warm out there, Alyssa. A group of doctors gave a seminar recently to minority groups about the risk and prevention methods of cancer. Reporter David Dyke tells us more.
Reaching out to minority groups across Windsor, doctors spoke at the El Hijra Mosque about the importance of preventive cancer screening. Advocating the importance of catching cancer before it becomes serious, the doctors spoke of keeping in contact with your primary health physician at least once a year, with increased importance if you are over 50. With no guaranteed cure for cancer known as of yet, Dr. Maher Al-Masri says cancer screening is the best way to prevent cancer, not only as a means of managing it, but also as a way to prevent it when it is most possible to do so.
One of the ways you can find out if you have early stages of cancer is to do the screening, because screening is a way to identify and catch cancer in its early stages, and that's better because when we catch it early, the chances of curing cancer are much higher than if we catch it later.
While Dr. Al-Masri says some types of cancer can have nothing done about them, he says others can be safely held at bay by healthy eating and regular exercise. As for methods of detecting early signs, methods like mammography and the FOBT test were encouraged as effective ways for cancer rebuttal. Dr. Ahmed Shaker also brought out other simple but effective ways to find out if someone is at risk or not.
Even the general annual physical, like every year in my clinic I see 2 to 3 thyroid cancer from simple tests like checking the thyroid, looking for any nodules or masses.
With the main cancer discussed being colon cancer, visitors afterwards filled out questionnaires to help out personal awareness. For MediaPlex News, I'm David Dyke.
And now we have an episode of 3 Minutes With, hosted by Alexandra Latremoui. Please enjoy.
Hi, I'm Alex Latremoui, and today we're spending 3 minutes with Mike Turnbull. He's the program manager at Plentiful Harvest, a division of the Windsor Food Bank. So Mike, I know you're familiar with the recent closure and food shortage, but could you please explain why it happened?
Well, although I can't speak for them, what I can tell you is that certainly donations have been down this time last year And it really is a struggle for food banks to keep food on the shelves throughout the year, particularly this time of the year. And like I say, donations are down this year, and it has certainly affected a number of food banks.
Mm-hmm. Could you please describe the public's response to this shortage, though?
Well, what I can tell you, this is a tremendous community and a very giving community, and we have, since that kind of broke, that those folks were in some dire straits, donations have certainly come in. Although donations have been down, they're really starting to roll in. We had a large donation today, which was fantastic. Monetary donations are certainly down this year, but they're starting to roll in, and because of that, that call out, the community, like they always do, are responding terrifically.
Mm-hmm. Now, aside from the public, are there any corporations or groups who regularly contribute to the food bank?
Yeah, there's a lot of corporations, a lot of agencies, and a lot of groups that do that. A lot of them wish to remain anonymous, but we have some great corporate sponsors in this community. Again, once again, the community as a whole is just a tremendous giving community.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know it is the holiday season, and the CP train was in Windsor yesterday. Mm-hmm. Could you please describe how successful that was, if it was?
It was. It is every year, and that is just a wonderful evening for folks to go out. And when that train rolls in, it's quite spectacular. Right now, as we speak, we have a number of volunteers are taking all of those donations and sorting them and putting them in equitable distribution portions to get out to those 15 food banks and other agencies that we deal with.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know donations generally tend to be up during the holiday season, but how can the public contribute more outside of Christmas?
Well, like I said earlier, it really is a challenge. Christmas time, I think people focus on because it is a pretty special time of year, and folks really want to help. But I think sometimes we get pretty busy in our daily lives. Throughout the year is certainly a struggle. But right after Christmas is really kind of a dry spell, I guess. It's really difficult moving into the spring.
Are there certain areas in the city that need food more so than other parts?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we distribute food, like I said, throughout the community, and there's about 15 low-income neighborhoods that we try to get out to as much as we possibly can. But there are certainly different areas that the need is greater.
Mm-hmm. And do you find that there are people who go to the food bank who perhaps don't need to?
No, I don't find that. I mean, unfortunately, there's no face to it anymore. There's so many people that come, from seniors to youth, single parents working, underemployed. I mean, it's just gotten to a point where it's much broader in the demographic.
And quickly, do you have anything else to add?
No, I certainly always put a call out to folks to help out where they can. They should certainly call the Unemployed Help Center, and we would certainly take any donations that they could help out with.
All right. Well, this has been Mark Turnbull, and I'm Alexandra Latrimwe, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of 3 Minutes With.
A tax increase may be on the horizon for Windsorites. Why? Well, let's go to Dan Gray for more.
A road levy, as well as increase in the cost of policing and other services, are just some of the reasons the 2016 budget may lead to a tax increase. The 0.5% levy is only part of the proposed 1.75% overall increase. It would create a dedicated income stream for road repair in the city for the next 20 years. Honorio Colucci says if council chooses to fund the full increase, it would have some perks for residents.
I would say the highlight then is that for less than the level of inflation on their tax bill, residents would keep essentially all the services they have now, plus gain those improved services for roads, the museum, as well as the East End pool.
Ward 9 Councillor Hilary Payne would like to have another 0% increase, but understands there is a case to be made for the projected increase as well. Part of that case includes the dedicated money for roads.
Now this will provide a dedicated fund for road reconstruction only, okay? And if this and future council agrees, then it will provide that for the next 20 years.
Mayor Drew Dilkins cautions against adding the levy too soon, knowing that other information is still to come.
So I don't want council to say, okay, we need a roads levy for 0.5% this year, and then next year when another report comes back saying, well, playgrounds, we need this much money every year in playgrounds, and be dealing with these things on a one-off basis.
If council can't find another $3 million in this document to cut, it's going to mean your home valued at $150,000 is going to have a $48 increase on their next tax bill. Deliberations start December 21st. For MediaPlex News, I'm Dan Gray.
Now let's go over to Alyssa, who's here in the studio with another special guest.
I would like to welcome Sherry Smith, board member of SCAR, Second Chance Animal Rescue. The most important question of the day is, who do we have here?
We have Rusty and Amanda.
I understand you're having an event this weekend. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, we're having an event at Pet Value Roundhouse Center from 10 till 3, and it's we're going to have decorating of treats and stockings, and kids can decorate ornaments as well as Santa photos, and where you can take pictures of your animals, and also we're going to have our adoptables there as well.
Okay, so there will be more friends where these guys came from?
Absolutely.
Well, everyone should get out to the Roundhouse Center Pet Value this weekend. A thank you to Sherry Smith, board member of SCAR. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Alyssa. Some very fun pets over there. If you'd like to see what St. Clair's School of Media, Art, and Design is like, take a look. Local refugees celebrated the holiday season with family and friends, hosted by Matthew House. Jillian Toman has the story.
A local refugee shelter celebrated its annual holiday through performances with past and present refugee claimants and community supporters.
We celebrated with people from all around the world, many who come from different cultures, but we were able to celebrate together.
Dana Mermagrajel arrived last March, pregnant and with less than $1,000. She says the most important thing to offer a refugee is love and compassion.
Because that is the first thing that the refugee feel. We feel like we are alone, and they need friends because they don't know anyone. And Matthew House helped us too much.
Mermagrajel says when it comes to donations, it's the practical things that matter.
Think like if you're in a home. See all the things that you have at home. Think for a minute that you don't have anything of that. So I think that is a good step.
We need this to be a momentum to continue caring for and helping refugees all the time.
It seems freedom and safety top refugees' wish lists. I'm Jillian Toman from MediaPlex News Now.
Very warming story. For your 3-day forecast, let's now go out to Alyssa, who is back outside. Alyssa, what are we looking at this week?
Did you know that the largest snowflake ever found to date was 38 centimeters wide? It was found in January 1887 in Montana. Well, it doesn't look like there's any snow on the horizon here, but let's have a look at the next 3 days. On Wednesday, we can expect it to be cloudy with showers and a high of 8 and a low of 3. Thursday, we will be a mix of sun and clouds, a high of 9 with a low of 6. And then on Friday, it will be mainly sunny with a high of 10 and a low of 6. That's it from me from the corner of University and Victoria. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Alyssa. Good to hear we'll be able to stay fairly warm this week. And speaking of warm, socks warm your feet and your heart. A local girl is collecting socks for her campaign, Socks Warm Your Heart. Anthony Sheardown has the story.
When Sarah Lewis was 7 years old, she started collecting socks and donated them to charity.
She calls it the Socks Warm Your Heart campaign. 8 years later, she has collected and donated over 18,000 pairs of socks and $50,000 in cash donations. She was in the 2nd grade when she started collecting.
My older brother was part of a social justice campaign at my school, and they sold candy canes. With that money, they bought sleeping bags to donate to Street Help, and I went with them, and there was a man there named Joe, and he said we really need socks, and Valentine's Day was coming up, so I was thinking of a way I could help the homeless, and so I came up with my Socks Warm Your Heart campaign, and I made a first donation. I brought a basket to my grade 2 classroom, and I donated 39 pairs of socks for my first donation.
Sarah has won many awards over the years. She said she enjoys winning them, but to her, it's more about bringing awareness to homelessness across Canada.
I've won different awards such as the Diamond Jubilee Award, this Ontario Junior Citizen of the Year Award, the Media Award. So different awards have been cool, allowed me to meet different people such as like the Governor General, the Premier, and it's brought just more awareness to homelessness in Windsor.
Sarah does her donations twice a year, once at Valentine's Day and once at Christmas. She feels these are the most giving times. She also helps out with other charities throughout the year as well.
Along with my socks campaign, I also help out with the Goodfellows, so I help out with the newspaper drive there. I help out with Terry Fox Run out in Tecumseh. But for my socks campaign, I just donate socks to Street Help, as well as I've made a donation to Attawapiskat, which is a First Nation reserve in Northern Ontario.
This is Sarah's 5th year collecting at Clair College. She said she likes to bring awareness to the older students in the community as well.
A Candlelight Vigil was recently held in order to remember those who died from AIDS. Sean Frame explains.
World AIDS Day is held annually on December 1st in order to continue to raise awareness. Locally, Executive Director of the AIDS Committee of Windsor, Michael Brennan, organized a Candlelight Vigil to remember those who have died from HIV and/or AIDS. The vigil began at the AIDS Committee on 511 Palisher and ended at the Capitol Theatre. Along with a keynote speaker and live poetry, the night was organized in order to get the conversation started about AIDS.
People are still being stigmatized who have HIV and AIDS, so that makes it very difficult for people who have HIV that don't know their status, making sure that they have access to testing without feeling stigmatized.
Katie Standish is a university student doing placement with the AIDS Committee. She decided to join the vigil to show her support for the organization. Standish admitted falling into the stigma surrounding the disease.
It's a big issue that a lot of people have misconceptions around. Well, I had a misconception that HIV and AIDS were the same thing, but they're not.
World AIDS Day aims to spread the word and let the public know that HIV has not gone away. The need to raise awareness and money are still in demand. I'm Sean Frame, MediaPlex News Now.
The Ontario government is looking at how to improve funding for the culture sector in the province. They came to Windsor last week to hear the ideas of residents. I went to find out more.
I think it's important to ensure that a regional perspective is part of this, part of the discussion.
It was a talk about changing how arts and culture are embraced in Ontario. Officials from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport were in town last week to hear ideas from residents for the last of its Culture Talk town halls. Assistant Deputy Minister Kevin Finnerty says as the sector grows, so too does the need for the province's first ever culture strategy.
It's a sector that's growing faster than the rest of the economy, so we really want to maintain that momentum because we've had tremendous success, and how do we build upon that?
To spur conversation, Biblioasis publisher Dan Wells spoke about his own experience with culture in Windsor and why investment is not only important provincially, but locally.
It engages people in the community, right? I mean, they get an idea of sort of what we have done and what is being done sort of in the industry and the supports that exist so that they can sort of do the exact same thing, especially in a place like Windsor, which I think is trying to, or needs to sort of reinvent itself.
Cameron Bailey from the Toronto International Film Festival also joined the conversation, giving the Toronto perspective, but says in his opinion, Windsor shows why it's important to invest across the province, not only in major hubs.
You know, you can reach that very high level of excellence anywhere, and it can thrive anywhere as well. I think that's really important for the health of the province as a whole, is that not everything is sucked into the center of a place like Toronto.
Since September, ideas have been gathered through the town halls, online discussions, and written submissions. Poet Vanessa Shields says she attended the Windsor Town Hall because it's important to pay attention to arts and culture due to how it contributes to us as a society.
I mean, we can't exist as humans without our culture and without expressing our culture through art. So It's impossible to be a government and not recognize that, recognize the importance of it.
With public input now complete, the ministry will use it in order to develop Ontario's first cultural strategy. It will release a report in 2016 highlighting the key themes found through these discussions. For MediaPlex News Now, I'm Sean Preble. This is a call to all who are looking at going into post-secondary school. Here at St. Clair College, we have a place for everyone. Check us out.
Times are changing, and they're changing faster than most people can understand.
It's not my parents' generation anymore, and I can't just go by their ideas because it's not necessarily relevant anymore.
There's a jobless generation out there walking out of universities with no idea how to engage their industry. A degree isn't necessarily a pathway to their career. Being industry ready is.
I have to take control of my future.
The job market has changed, and I have to adapt. I'm not just getting theory, I'm getting skills.
Through placement, I'm shown which areas I can specialize in and which path it takes to get there.
I struggled a lot in high school because, people just kept lecturing at me, and that's just not my way of learning.
I learn by doing. I learn by reacting to a situation. St. Clair puts me directly into my industry. I'm dealing with real patients, real life situations. It's not just theory, it's not book work anymore.
I think it's so important to be taught by industry professionals because they know what they're doing, and they're not just teaching because they read it in a book somewhere. They're teaching because they've lived it.
I got that genuine feeling from St. Clair, like it was just home. Like I wasn't uncomfortable, I wasn't uneasy, it felt nice.
I have to take control of my future, and that's what I'm doing.
I got a gut feeling with St. Clair that was great, and I definitely wasn't let down.
St. Clair is my choice, and I'm glad it's the right one for me.
I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College.
I choose.
I choose.
I choose to take control of my future.
My path
is St. Clair College.
I choose to be here.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm Sean Preble, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.
I got a gut feeling with St. Clair that was great, and I definitely wasn't let down. It was just home. Like I wasn't uncomfortable, I wasn't uneasy, it felt nice. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.